Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you watched the previous episode of the Lakehouse Build series, you would have seen us building the tall rake wall and having the large crane lifted into position. If you haven't seen that episode, be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out the playlist to find it. As part of that episode, we also had the crane fly in the trusses and set them down on the tops of the walls, and the thinking was that we could then just lift them into position. In this episode, we begin that process of lifting the trusses and setting them into place. I thought we could just hook up a pulley and lift them into place with a rope. I don't think we had the right pulley, and the rope we were using had a lot of give to it and was pretty stretchy. I also thought about using Larry, our genie lift, but he didn't quite have enough reach, as he would have had to extend at least to the center point of the truss in order to lift it straight up. So we start with a combination of pulley and 2x4 push stick. Catherine pulls on the rope and I use a 2x4 to push the truss up as far as I can. It's then a matter of ensuring it is centered on the walls, left to right, and then securing it to the exterior wall. I then jump into Larry and level up the truss vertically and then secure it to the trusses over the 3-season porch, which locks it all into position. I then adjust the rope and pulley so that we can prepare to lift the second truss. We get the second one lifted and temporarily tied off so it can't fall back. We can then move it left or right to line it up with the previous one. This is actually a double end wall truss, so both trusses get fastened together to make one single unit. So here we are trying to move the next truss slightly so that we can attach the 2x4 spacers before lifting. This reminds us to always be safe and aware of our surroundings and to think about each step before executing. Now that the truss had fallen off its bracing, we had to find a way to lift it back up onto the wall. It was right about here where the GoPro battery died. Suffice to say, we got it lifted back onto the wall. You might notice a little more reach on Larry today. I came up with the idea to attach a steel extension with a hook on the end, and that is bolted to Larry's frame. This allows for him to reach into the middle of the room and lift the truss at the center point. The other improvement we made was to come up with these stop blocks that we screw to the top of the wall, and they kind of lock the bottom of the truss into place and prevent it from sliding left or right as we are lifting it up. Here, Catherine is just moving it from the previous one and getting it ready for the next lift. Once the truss is in position left to right, I can nail the spacers to the previous truss to lock them all into place. Catherine gets quite the workout rolling the scaffolding from side to side. With the stop blocks in place, we could then cut the spacers and get ready to lift the next truss. With the truss ends nailed to the top of the wall, I could then nail off the spacers to the previous truss to secure everything together. It was then a matter of rinse and repeat for the next several trusses, as we had to lift and secure 3 of them together to make a triple ply truss similar to the first double ply that we set. This is all in preparation for the dormer section that comes next. So here we are building the dormer wall with a large window in it. This will go ahead and sit on top of the exterior wall and provide lots of natural light into what will be the kitchen and dining room. We measure the diagonals to ensure it is square and then attach the zip sheathing. We come up with the idea of attaching some straps to the wall and lift it up into place with Larry. So I start by drilling some holes and finish it off with the multi-tool to create an opening that we can feed the straps through. Once we got it into place, I used some pipe clamps to secure the bottom while we level and plumb it and secure to the triple truss on the left side. I can then nail the bottom plate to the top of wall and remove the clamps. With the dormer wall in place and the 2x6s filled in under the end wall truss, we switch gears and decide to finish up the zip sheathing on this exterior. This will allow us to install the plywood sheathing on the trusses of the 3-season porch, and this will tie everything together and lock it into place. My mom and dad stopped by to say hello and check in on the progress. With the zip sheathing in place, we could attach a nailing strip in plane with the trusses that will be used by the plywood roof sheathing. I measure up from the ends of the trusses and we snap a chalk line that will be used to help position the first row of plywood roof sheathing. Here is a good view of the roof line so far with the trusses we have set along with the wall for the dormer. We still have to set the piggyback trusses, which are basically a truss on top of a truss, and that would extend the roof line to a peak instead of the flat section that is shown now. All of this is due to the limitations in shipping a truss this wide down the road. We continue installing all of the plywood on the 3-season porch section. It is amazing what a difference the plywood makes in the shear strength of the trusses and just really stiffens everything up and locks it all into place. This is where I'm going to end this episode. Come back and check out the next one as we continue the Lakehouse Build series. Please drop a comment below, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.